Hello and welcome in. I am Miss Kinghorn and we are back here in our Red Lane Zoo. If you are new here, this is a kind of a fun build we are working on off of a real zoo based in America, and we're slowly but surely working our way around this, and we're focusing at the moment on our cream family farm, which we were doing before the barnyard pack came out, and then I have destroyed it all and we're rebuilding. So you have already seen the intro, so you know we are working on the Highland Cattle in here, which is going to be kind of the last big animal in this kind of area. So we do have sort of a smaller kind of animal and some exhibition animals coming up, but you'll see all of those next time. I'm not going to give away too much, but yes, there is some animals that we still haven't added into here, and yeah, then we'll be back onto another part of the zoo. So I did say that at the end of, once we finish the Cream Family Farm, I will do like a walkthrough, because it'll be like the end of sort of phase 2 of this, so we'll have a good sort of start to our zoo. Lots of animals, lots of habitats, and bits and pieces in. So I think we'll do a walkthrough tour in probably at the end of the next video, I'm going to be honest. So make sure to subscribe to my channel for that one. But anyway, you can see I've currently built the stone wall along the back, which is the same one that we've used all the way around this area, and then the little wooden fences as well. I so regret doing this. Why did I start doing it like this? I don't know. It is so time consuming because they are double. So one of them is slightly lower than the other one, and yeah, anyway, it was a mistake to do, but hey, you live and learn. As I say, this will probably be the last time really I use these, so it should be okay. Anyhow, let's have some facts about our Highland Cattle in here. Now, they are actually one of the oldest known breeds, so they date back to the 6th century. Yes, really that old. They were mentioned in some book at that time, but they were originally black, not their kind of reddish kind of colorations that you sort of see today. But over time they have kind of, I guess it's kind of more selective breeding that has kind of made them more desirable if they were that kind of reddy, kind of browny kind of colour. I do actually have, and you'll sort of seen it in the intro and at the screenshots at the end, I do actually have a black variant. It was quite difficult to actually get them. I had to kind of go through quite a few, and what you don't see is the fact that there in this habitat was about 10 of them, because I was literally just placing them when I was like buying them off of the trading centre, and then I was just getting rid of them because a better one was coming along. So yeah, but I finally got one that's slightly different, that's obviously different from all of the others, because I feel like if you have all of the same kind of looking animals in here, it can kind of get a bit samey in it, and it doesn't break up the screenshots of the video very well. So that's kind of my reasoning behind doing all of that. But the main difference between a female and a male Highland Cattle is their horns. So with the males, they tend to be quite larger and they would grow forwards, whereas the females would grow more upwards and are slightly thinner at the base. So there we go. But they are actually one of a very friendly kind of animal, I suppose, because they're also in here and you're in a walk-through habitat. This isn't a walk-through habitat, but you can sort of walk through them. They do actually seek out sort of humans in the Highlands of Scotland, where they are originally from, and you'll sort of see if you're like walking and stuff, they will come up to you and want to be petted and stroked and things like that as well. Because their temperament is just generally really nice and friendly and really chilled, even though they do have those really long, ridiculously long horns, I've got to be honest. But they obviously do have a purpose, whether that is digging through the snow, sort of to get to the grass underneath, kind of obviously fighting for sort of the females of the if there's a rival male in the area, things like that as well. But they were originally used for their meat. It was originally what they were used for because they are high in lots of proteins and things like that, so they are one of the good ones, but they're also low in their sort of cholesterol levels, so it's one of the healthier kind of beef options you can have if that is your thing into there. But yes, right, we're slowly coming up to the end of this kind of fencing in here, and yeah, as I say, it was stupid of me. I will not be doing something like this again, I can assure you. Anyhow, this is quite a big habitat, and I wanted it to be quite a big one because I feel like they needed a lot of space to kind of roam around, and they would sort of in Scotland or in the Highlands, Scotland, where they are originally from, they would have a lot of space to kind of roam around in. They're not in kind of square kind of fields with like nothing in it. They are in like heathlands and kind of wild spaces, as it were. So I did really want to have something kind of like that in here, and I've also done this in quite a kind of woodland, kind of overgrown kind of area, which I think suits them a lot better than what like the pristine kind of habitat that I think we kind of identify it as like farmland and things like that, which I didn't want to do for this in here. So I'm currently building that hard shelter. You can sort of see I'm having a little bit of degree. I wanted it to be quite tall at the back, but I also wanted it to be quite short. So that's why it kind of has like that sloping roof, and I was originally going to place a kind of normal roof on it, as it were, but in the end I changed it out, and you'll see later on when I put the roof in, I wanted it to look kind of the same as the others, which kind of meant that this didn't really look quite right, and I'm not 100% happy with it. It works just fine. There is enough hard shelter for the animals. They're all happy with that. I just don't like the look of it. It may well be a case that I increase the sort of side here so that it is up to the sort of the 4 meters, which is the other side, and then just put a flat roof on it. But I don't know. You'll have to see in the walkthrough what we do with that if we get that one in there. So these kind of nice wooden kind of beams coming across here as well, just add a nice little bit of support in here. We will be adding the sort of wooden kind of facade on the outside like we normally do, but this is just kind of more roof structure kind of support in here to get some nice sort of beams coming through, and a little bit of security and things like that for that roof as well. Otherwise it would just be kind of freestanding into here. Now I went for a sort of a grey kind of colour for this. Now we have used sort of different colours when it comes to these sort of hard shelter kind of areas, so I wasn't really sure, but I kind of like the grey. I think it's kind of quite neutral in here, and it works out pretty well. We'd also obviously get it up on the walls as well into here, and yeah, and then it's also on the roof as well. But yeah, this little section above the door, I do actually change that in the end. You'll probably see it later on. It kind of has to change because the way the doors are, they're really small. So although that is basically where the habitat gate goes, it's quite a difficult one because you kind of want to say, well, we'll put in a 4 meter door then, and we just won't put anything there, but it just doesn't work. So in the end you have to kind of lower a lot of it down and things like that into here. But we had some clipping stones, so I've just removed those from the back, and then have some lighting in here. Now I don't think the cows can bash their heads on these. They can walk under them, I know that much. I was actually kind of shocked at how small these cows are. I don't really know why. I think I live in the country and I know what a cow like the size of a cow, and they're usually quite big. So I was kind of thinking they're going to be quite a big animal, and you can sort of hear me put in these feeders that we created previously, except they're actually too high. I have to come back through and lower them because the animal just can't get to them because they are really, really small, which is super cute, but yeah, they're just tiny. Anyhow, right, so off topic here. Here is me just doing this sort of facade in here. Now I do only show you this part of it. I don't show you like the other 3 sides. Obviously with one of them being open, there is nothing on that side. But obviously the guests can't see the side, so I thought it would be a better option for them in here. And now, I don't really know what I'm going to do beyond this, whether we're going to have more habitats, whether we're going to have a little bit of open sort of space. I'm not really sure at the moment. Obviously I am working off of the plan that we have from the original zoo map, but what we kind of get for that I don't know. But yeah, changing the colours of these so that it kind of is a little bit more in keeping with what I really wanted for this habitat into here. But yeah, again, I do lower this down so that it is accessible to the cows, and then placing in some of the dried salt swamps. These kind of look like hay bales to me, so that's kind of why I place them down into here, and we kind of have them all a little bit mishmashed, and maybe some of it's been eaten out and things like that. But yes, this is where we're going to get in the sort of door section, and I change out what we had already done for the sort of habitat gate to come in here, and yet you can see that it clips through. So when we get in this door here, which I don't feel like I've used in a while, I feel like we created another one, but I ended up going for this one in here. It looks kind of different to everything else, and then it also sticks out the other side, so we have to kind of fill in around here using the plaster pieces to kind of make it look like it fits a little bit better into there as well. But yeah, that is basically the hard shelter all done, barring the roof, which we are going to work on in now. So yeah, we basically raise up all of this, and then we have the white sort of trim that we've used all the way around the rest of the sort of buildings in our zoo. We get that coming around as well. And yeah, I did think about giving him an overhang, but decided not to in the end, because I felt like this was kind of at least part of an overhang, so it kind of made sense that it goes in like that, and they don't really complain that like water can get in or anything like that, so that's all fine into there. And yeah, we have to kind of change it all around. It's the first time we've done an angled roof in a really long time, so I was trying to struggle to get all of these in at the, sort of like the right place and things like that. So you'll sort of say there is lots of sort of jiggling around and moving things, and sort of there's always something in any of my videos where it's never quite right and I end up moving and changing and doing anything. I feel like this roof was definitely a little bit more of a struggle for me into here. But yes, we've got the little bit coming down the bottom. There is obviously a big slope coming from this as well, because the whole sort of area here is on a slope. So although this hard shelter is flat, you can basically see the 3, maybe possibly 4 tiers that we have throughout this habitat, because again, they live in the Highlands of Scotland. They are very rocky, kind of mountainous sort of terrains, so I felt like this was kind of an area where we could add in some big sort of slopes and things like that. Now, I have to be fair with this rock work, I didn't go OTT with it. You'll sort of see how we do it all, but there are clusters of rocks everywhere, but there's lots of sort of open spaces as well, because I wasn't 100% sure how other keepers can kind of get through, and obviously with the cows being in there as well, I didn't want to make it too sort of restrictive for them. So I think as an open habitat with like nothing in it. I think it's something around like 2,400 or something, and then I think we take it down to like 1,000 and something odd when we get in all of the planting, all the rocks and all of that. So we kind of like half it, but it's not that bad. I feel like when I place all of the planting, and you'll see it coming up, I kind of do it very strategically so that there are areas of kind of dense planting where the animals can't get to, and then there's very open sections as well where obviously it's good for like sight lines and things like that to kind of come in. I do kind of try and focus a little bit more on those sorts of things into there as well, but at the moment we're getting in the paths to put in the enrichment and the feeders. A little trick for you: if you place these down before you place anything, then it doesn't interfere with the sort of train too much into there. Some of the bigger things do obviously need a bigger circle, but that's just because they are slightly bigger, or if you place them to one side, then it will affect the terrain kind of around the path into there as well. And then afterwards you just delete the pathing, and then I just put in some terrain paint. So I kind of looked at it and thought, where would the animals mostly walk? And so I've kind of used that as where I've put some of the lighter kind of soil, and then I wanted a mixture of kind of cut grass, low grass, and then some taller grasses as well. And I've kind of used some of the taller grasses as kind of areas where there's a little bit more dense planting. So kind of this corner over here, sort of along the back wall, I wanted that to be quite dense kind of planting in there to kind of hide in a way the stone wall that we've got going through. Now I have to be fair, this stone wall is not quite up to the strength it would have as a barrier. They would easily be able to just knock it over or even jump over it, to be honest. And some of the fencing is actually really small as well. But I have escapes off in my game because this is a sandbox zoo, so I'm able to kind of change some of the characteristics of the game, so I can say like no escaping, always electricity, always water, that sort of thing. And so we don't have to have like wind turbines or anything else around, and there's no escaping unless I do something completely and utterly wrong, which, let's be fair, this is me, so it is a distinct possibility when we get into there. But yes, you can sort of see what I mean with the planting and sort of different areas coming through. Now I'm sort of going around with like one plant at a time, kind of just placing it everywhere, because I kind of want to see how it all works, and I'm kind of building up different areas throughout all of this as well. So yeah, that's what we are working on now, and I kind of like how this all looks. I feel like this whole sort of area was kind of a very woodland kind of area, whether it's the sheep, whether it's the donkeys, the pigs, they are kind of woodland kind of habitats, and I feel like that whole sort of look in here kind of works out really well. So having lots of trees, lots of sort of rocks everywhere kind of makes it a nice sort of area. And obviously if you were sort of just coming to this little area, it's a nice little escape in there, rather than the rest of the zoo, which is maybe a little bit more maintained, if that's probably the right word. This area is a little bit more wild, a little bit more natural. They've kind of like let it grow wild kind of thing. That's kind of what I was thinking and aiming for with this section in here. Right. So yeah, getting in a few of the plants that we've used kind of elsewhere in the zoo as well. Maybe these were like the original plants that were kind of in here, and then it's kind of just grown over time to be a little bit more wild, which yeah, kind of what I wanted for this section. Now I don't think I've used the foxgloves anywhere else in here, this sort of zoo, so they were kind of a new little addition that I've added in, but I think they add some really nice sort of pops of colour to this whole sort of area in here too. And I've got to be fair, I have so many of them at work, it is like impossible to go anywhere without seeing foxgloves or hollyhocks anywhere. They're everywhere right now, so it was a nice little thing just to add them in to this zoo and this habitat into here. But yeah, adding in lots of sort of meadows and things like that, which I felt like it was a really nice sort of touch in here. And obviously the trees. But we're coming up to the end of this video, so if you have enjoyed it, then please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. You can find me on pretty much all social medias as well. My link tree is up in the About Me section. But until next time, thank you all for watching. Bye everyone.